Hi, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. So if someone can just confirm that you guys can hear me and your settings are good, that would be great. Thank you. That is always good to know. So we're going to get started. As always, we're going to do questions at the end. We'll go through the full kind of agenda first. And then if you have questions now that you don't want to forget, you can always put those in the chat, or you can just hold on to those and we'll go over everything towards the end of the meeting. If you don't know who I am, my name is Abby Sherrier. I'm the Youth Programs Director and I oversee everything Heritage Tour, and help plan the trip and make sure you guys are prepped, and then I'll get to go on the trip with you guys in just a few weeks. But without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to jump into the slideshow and get going on this. So again, my name's Abby. We're going to talk about the mandatory in-person meeting, which is March 25th, a little bit later in our agenda. But we're going to jump right in. Today we're going over days 5, 6, and 7, talking about the in-person meeting, going over some just kind of packing details that you may want to know now so you can prep accordingly, and deadline reminders. So starting off with day 5, let me get my itinerary open. So we've already gone over days 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to talk about day 5, 6, and 7 tonight. So by the end of tonight, we'll have the full itinerary. Again, if you have questions, put those in the chat and we'll circle back as we go. But day 5 is a pretty simple day because our goal is Gettysburg. We're going to get up in the morning. We're going to be departing DC and driving to Gettysburg National Military Park. When we get there, we have a guided bus tour with guides from the national park. So they get right on our bus. We'll have a couple minutes to use the restroom really quickly. Everyone gets back on the bus. The tour guides get on the bus. And then we go out, and our tour is a little over 2 hours. So it's a pretty lengthy tour. It'll be about 9:30 to 11:30. And I'll show you this image really quickly before we move on too much. So this is Gettysburg National Military Park. And right down here where my cursor is the visitor center, and then we go all around the park. We see a really good portion of it. They take us through the town. Every tour is a little bit different based on the tour guide that you get and certainly questions that people have, but we get a really well-rounded tour around the park itself. So that's really fun to do with our guides. It's a really great way to see the whole park by bus. We get off the bus multiple times to take pictures, learn more, and then we're also on the bus kind of learning as we drive, which is super fun. So once we're done with our tour, we go back to the visitors center and we'll get off the bus. We're going to be staying at the visitors center for a while, so you won't need much to take off the bus. You'll just want like a small bag with your wallet, and really that's it. Because we're going to go in and we're going to have boxed lunches from the cafeteria. The boxed lunches are pretty good. We'll meet right there. You'll grab your sandwiches, whatever you guys put on your meal request form. And then we'll have to split up into a couple groups. It will probably be bus 1 and 2 and then bus 3. I'll know a little bit better how they're going to split us up, but we're going to go see the short video that is A New Birth of Freedom, narrated by Morgan Freeman. And then we go up to see the Gettysburg Cyclorama, which is this amazing artwork, and there's a light and sound show with more narration. So that takes about an hour, a little bit less. to see all of that. So we spend a good amount of time in there. You'll have time. There's a museum in the visitor center that you'll have a little bit of time to go through. There's a pretty good gift shop in the visitor center. But once we're done with the show, we're then going to get on the bus because we have a long drive out to New Jersey. So this is probably our longest drive ever since day one. So day one, we're driving a really long way to get all the way down to Pennsylvania. Now we've kind of doubled back to Pennsylvania and then we go over to New Jersey. And this can take a little bit of time, especially if we hit some traffic, which has been the experience the past couple of years, which is why we've made this day so simple as far as travel goes. So we're going to spend really great morning into the early afternoon in Gettysburg, take a long drive out to New Jersey. We're going to get to our hotel. You guys will have time to get settled in your rooms. And then you're going to come down and this is where we'll do like pizza and salad at the hotel. So this is a pretty low-key day because you'll see next day that we're going to go over is day 6 is not low-key at all. It is very fast-paced. So this is a good rest day where you still feel like you're getting a lot out of it. There's a lot of history that we're going to see that day. And then you're going to have plenty of time to relax on the bus, relax in the hotel, and rest up for a very busy day 6. Which we'll jump into right now. So day 6, I have a couple different maps to show you as we bounce back and forth and kind of go over everything. But this, I would say day 6 is the most complicated day. So this is the day where you're really going to have to be paying attention to the information that is on the itinerary, but also the information we're giving you guys on the buses and texting out to you guys as we're in the city. Because this, especially the morning, is a lot of moving pieces, a lot of transitions, easily the most transitions kind of in one morning on this trip. It's a lot. So we're going to start the day by
Abby,
You're
you're
on mute,
muted.
Abby.
Okay, I don't know how I ended up on mute again. Please keep letting me know if I end up. Hold on. So just so everyone's clear, if you need to mute yourself, that is a very different button than trying to mute me. So there's a little 3 dots if you hover over my picture. If you click on that and then click mute participant, you're going to mute me. There's a different button to keep yourself muted. So if people can just make sure they're clicking the right one so I don't have to bounce back and forth between being muted and unmuted for the rest of the meeting, that would be great. If you need any help navigating that, I'm sure someone can pop in the chat and let you know how to switch that back and forth. But let's go back to day 6. So day 6, we're going to go to the 9/11 Memorial Grounds. The 9/11 Memorial Grounds is not the 9/11 Museum, so we don't have tickets to that. If you want to do that, that's something you can purchase on your own, and you should plan to do in the afternoon of this trip. So that would mean we would go to the 9/11 Memorial Grounds, you would be with us, you would go out to Liberty Island and Ellis Island with us, and then when we get back, instead of taking the bus with us into like the Times Square area, you would go to the museum and then get your own transportation from the museum into the Times Square area. So if that museum in New York City is really important to you, I highly recommend you plan to do that. Tickets are not the least expensive, but they're not the most expensive. Last time I looked, they're about $40 per person. So if you want to do that, I recommend making that work. And taking that time to do that in the afternoon before joining us in the Times Square area. We're going to do the grounds. We hang out there for a little under an hour. It really depends on how long it takes us to get into the city. Last couple of years, knock on wood, we've had really good luck with very minimal traffic, have been able to get right in, walk to the memorial grounds. You have time to walk around. We'll give you some history and some things to look for while you're there. There is a large building there that you can go in and use the restrooms. It is usually, or at least I should say, historically, it's pretty chilly this morning. So this is one of our kind of coldest mornings where you're going to want to bundle up. You do want to pack layers, and we're going to talk about what you should pack a little bit later in this meeting. But this morning is usually a little bit chilly. So it's a lot of hanging out in mittens, gloves, going in and out of the building, getting warm, grabbing coffee, that good stuff. We then walk from the 9/11 Memorial Grounds to Battery Park, which is where we get the ferry to Liberty Island. So I'm going to pull up a quick picture for you. So this yellow arrow is where we walk from, and I'll show you another image in just a second, but it's a pretty long walk. It is about 3/4 of a mile we're walking to get to the Battery Park, where we get on the ferry to go to Liberty Island. And I have tickets for everyone. You don't have to worry about tickets for the Statue of Liberty to get on the ferry. I have all of that. So I'll have that for you. If you've ever been on the trip before or have done the islands before and have taken the ferry from New York, you would have gotten on this old location. So it's changed this year. So there's a new location where you go through security, where they check your tickets, and then you get on the boat. My guess is it's going to be almost exactly the same as when we did it the last time. So if you have ever done, I would say, airport security, it is very similar. You aren't going to take off your shoes, but you're going to take off your layers, and they're going to go through your bag, and you're going to walk through a metal detector, and your bags are going to go through an imaging machine, and then we'll all kind of gather and get on the boat. There is probably a 50-50 shot of if we all get on the same ferry to go out to Liberty Island, or if we get split and end up on 2 different ferries to go out to Liberty Island. Either situation is totally fine. The most important thing, hands down, is that students stay with their chaperones. If our big group gets split up, that's fine, as long as students are with their chaperones, and the chaperones know where their students are. So that's the big key, and we'll remind you a lot of that as we get there. And all of the bus leaders, we spread out kind of in the line of everyone who's going through security. That way we make sure that no one's getting left behind without one of the trip leaders. So students have to stay with their chaperones. This is also a place where chaperones have to be paying extra close attention, because again, you're going to have to take off your jackets or your sweatshirts. So if your outer layer is your red or your blue that you're wearing for the trip, when you take off your sweatshirt or your jacket, you may not have that color anymore. So chaperones just need to pay extra close attention until their students get dressed and everyone's on the boat, to make sure that you know where they are. But we'll help you guys through all of that. Again, if you've done airport security, this is a breeze. The new location, hopefully they've made it even smoother than it ever used to be. Again, last couple of years, knock on wood, we've all been on the same boat. I have had a couple trips where we just happened to get split up because of timing wise, getting through the line. And again, it's not a huge deal, but it's something that you should be kind of mentally prepped for. I'm going to show you another image that kind of outlines how long our walk is. So up here at the top of the screen is the 9/11 Memorial Pools, and we are going to be walking all the way down to where the ferry is. So again, this says 0.8 miles, so it takes a little bit. We have to stick together as a group. It's a nice experience to walk through the city. It's cool to see all the buildings. But this is probably our longest walk that we do as a group, and it's because it is far, far simpler than getting on a bus and getting driven down. So this is a pretty straight shot, but we hike a little bit this morning. So going back to the itinerary, when we get out to Liberty Island, we're all going to get off the ferry. And you have as much time as you would like to spend on Liberty Island and Ellis Island, as long as we are all meeting back at Battery Park at about 1:30, because we're loading the bus at 1:45. So we will give you very specific ferry times as we get closer. Right now, the ferry times for April aren't posted yet, so I don't have that information to give you, but I know the ferry runs about every 15-20 minutes. So everyone can go, but what we're doing this year is some people like to spend a lot of time on Liberty Island. Some people like to spend more time on Ellis Island. So we'll all get off the ferry at Liberty Island. If you want to spend 20 minutes there and then go over to Ellis Island and spend more time there, you can absolutely do that. If you want to spend a ton of time on Liberty Island and just a little bit of time on Ellis Island, you can totally do that. It's kind of up to you how you want to use your time between both of the islands. But you will want to make sure that you take the ferry back to Battery Park, probably no later than, my guess is it's going to be the 1:15 from Ellis Island. So we'll help you with the timing of it. We'll let you know like the last possible ferry to take from Liberty Island to Ellis Island, and then from Ellis Island to the mainland. But again, they run every 15 minutes. It's fairly simple. I'm going to show you guys if I can find it. It's this one. So this image, you want to look at the dotted line. So we leave from the New York Ferry Terminal. The first ferry that we're all on is going to go all the way out here over to Liberty Island. So again, you can stay here for however long you want. When you're ready to go explore Ellis Island, you get on the ferry, you're going to transition over to Ellis Island, and then you would get on the ferry to go back to Battery Park. We'll give you the timing. If you don't care about Ellis Island at all, then you would just get on the Liberty Island ferry. As you got to Ellis Island, you wouldn't get off, and then you would go all the way back to Battery. So we'll let you know what time to catch those boats, but that's how we're doing it this year. And then when we all get back to Battery Park, we'll do a head count. We'll make sure everyone's off the islands before we take off. We'll be getting on the bus. It's a really quick get on the bus because there's nowhere for the bus to really pull up and park. So we want to make sure that when they pull up on the side, we don't want them to be blocking traffic for very long. So your bus leaders will have you line up by back of the bus to front of the bus. So as people get on, you can get on as fast as humanly possible so that we aren't pulled over for very long. Once we're on the buses, we're going to go up to the Battery Park. Bryant Park. It's very confusing on day 6 because the two parks we go to are Battery Park and Bryant Park. Battery Park is for the islands. Bryant Park is for Times Square. So we're all going to take the bus uptown to the Times Square area. We get dropped off at Bryant Park. I'll show you a little map here in just a second. And then that is when you start your big chunk of free time for New York City. So you'll want to plan on where you want to go for dinner, what you want to go see. There's 1.5 million attractions. There's so many. You can go out to Central Park. You can explore some of the skyscrapers. There's just a ton. And I'll show you how close you are when we get dropped off. So this is a blurry one, so I won't spend too much time here, but this red circle is Bryant Park. Over here is Times Square. And if you look at it here, way down at the far corner is Bryant Park, right where we get dropped off. And then up here in this area, you're at Times Square. So it's really like you're going right around the corner and you're where you need to be. So we get you as close as possible. And then this is where we'll also get picked up at the end of the evening. So exactly where we get dropped off is where we all get picked up. We're going to meet back at Bryant Park at 7:45. We'll do a head count. The buses will get ready to pull up. We'll all get on the buses and we're going back to the hotel for the night. So like I said, very busy day. Please make sure if you have questions, you're writing them down, putting them in the chat, because I would totally understand having questions about this day. It's a jam-packed day for sure. And that brings us to our very last day of the trip, the day that we will be slowly making our way home. We'll depart fairly early from New Jersey in the morning. We're going to be driving through, just making a couple quick stops. And as hopefully you all know, we have a Red Sox game to go to. And I know I posted in the Facebook group today, so if you haven't looked, go check out the poll I put there. We have tickets for everyone to go to the Red Sox game. I know that Boston has a lot more to offer than Fenway Park in a Red Sox game, and that baseball may not be everyone's thing. So I'm still kind of finalizing what options we can give people to help you get into the Quincy market area if you don't want to stay at the Red Sox game the entire time. So that's the poll that's in the Facebook group right now. If you can just respond to that. We're hoping to be able to offer at least 2 options if there are enough people who don't want to stay at the Red Sox game the whole time, to help you get back to Quincy Market. And by help you, I mean coordinate our buses to take you down there. If anyone doesn't want to go to the Red Sox game or wants to come and go, it's virtual tickets. You'll have them on your phone. You can come and go as you please. We have seats all together. You'll have a certain time that you have to meet up with us at a certain gate so we can start our drive home. But there's nothing stopping you from exploring around Fenway Park itself, but also getting an Uber, or using public transportation to go into the Quincy Market area or any other part of Boston. It is technically free time. We've just coordinated the Red Sox game for most of you, I hope, to enjoy during your free time. So I'll give you details as we get closer to the trip, of exactly what that's going to look like, but hopefully we'll have a fair amount of you that stay at the Red Sox game, and then we'll have an option for those of you that may want to also see Quincy Market to be able to get down and see the Quincy Market area and do that kind of stuff too. So we'll just kind of play it by ear, but it's important that you guys answer in the poll so we can see what people are really interested in doing. When the Red Sox game is over, my best guess is 5:30. The tough part about baseball is it's really hard to know when games are going to finish, but the pitch timer helps a lot, makes the games a lot more predictable. My best guess is 5:30. So when that game is over, we're all going to be heading home. So I know in a previous itinerary that I had sent out, it included us going into Quincy Market at the end, after the game. That puts us home really, really late. It makes the bus driver's day kind of complicated because they can only drive for a certain amount of hours every day. So that just wasn't realistic for us. And I promise everyone's going to be pretty tired by then. So we have the same chunk of time that we would always have in Boston, is about that 4.5 hours. So we're going to stick with that, give everyone options to kind of do what they want within that 4.5 hours and help you guys get where you need to go. But at 5:30, or if the game is over close to then, we're going to be heading out. We're going to be heading back to Maine. So going back to Maine will just require a couple of stops. We'll stop at Kennebunk. We may make one other stop, but probably not. We're probably going to power right through from Boston to Kennebunk and Kennebunk to home. And then when we get home, it's a matter of unloading all the luggage, taking care of any trash that's on the bus, making sure people don't leave stuff behind, taking care of any snacks that are left over. And we kind of do that all as quickly as we can and send you guys on your way and you get to go home. So I'm going to pop out of the itinerary really quick. I'm not going to take questions quite yet about that. Oh, I did want to show you just kind of how far, because not everyone has a great idea of how far Fenway is from kind of that Quincy Market area. And it would be an hour walk if you wanted to walk it. I will say there's decent things to see if you wanted to walk it. I have walked it before. I've gone from the end of a Red Sox game and walked into Quincy Market and over to the bus station to take the bus back to Portland. And it's not the worst walk, but it is a long walk. It's 2.5 miles. It would eat up a lot of your time in Boston if you made the choice to do that. But there's public transportation, there are Ubers everywhere. And again, we're going to hopefully figure out a way to shuttle people back and forth using our buses. We just have to figure out the timing of that. So just know it's not like a matter of going 10 minutes down the road and you're there. With buses, this is probably a 20-minute ride because there are certain streets buses can't go on this little trek. But it's not something that you can just walk down and see Quincy Market from Fenway Park. It's a bit of a hike. So going back to our slideshow, again, make sure you make a note of any questions you have. I wanted to talk about expectations for our in-person meeting, which is March 25th. So I've said it 100 times. This is mandatory for chaperones and students. I'll skip down to the bottom of this slide. If a student or chaperone can't attend, please let me know in advance. So I'm not prepping and printing stuff for you to grab, or I'm not expecting you and wondering where you are, or if you got lost. Just let me know if you can't make it. And the second thing is I would ask that you would coordinate with someone that you know who's going on the trip to collect your apparel and collect any handouts that we do have. So just let me know ahead of time, hey, Abby, I can't come, and Susie is gonna grab my clothes and my daughter's clothes for me, and they'll grab any handouts you have. If you can just tell me that, then that's all I really need. I really want as many people to come as possible. This is the only time, A, that you got to see and meet us in person before we go on this trip, but B, we go over a ton of information in this meeting, and it's not a meeting that's recorded and I can send out at a later date for you to review. So it's really important that people can come. If your student can't come, that's not ideal, but I get it. It's a busy time of year. If you can't come, but your student can come with a chaperone or with a friend, that's a really great solution. But just please make an effort to make this work, and at the very least coordinate a way for one of you to get there, or coordinate a way for someone to get all of this stuff for you. But we're going to be doing our apparel pickup. So your 2 t-shirts and jacket that you get included with the trip is you're going to grab that from 5:30 to 6:15. Then we'll have the meeting, and at the end, once we know that everyone's gotten their t-shirts and jackets in the sizes that they wanted, and we've made sure covered those bases, then we'll have the extra apparel purchases. So if you want to buy extra t-shirts, sweatshirts, long sleeves, that kind of stuff, that's going to happen at the end of the meeting. But if you just want to grab your 2 t-shirts and your jacket, and as soon as the meeting over, head out, you're going to have the chance to do that, and you're not going to have to wait around for other people to make purchases. So we try and make it as easy as possible and make it so everyone gets the sizes that they want. If you are buying extra apparel, we can only take debit or credit cards for apparel. We can't do cash or check with the system that we have to make it as quick as possible, so keep that in mind. Second thing is we have limited sizes and quantity for sweatshirts and long sleeve shirts. It wasn't in our budget this year to order a bunch of new ones, so I did my best to get what I can and to make sure that we had some inventory from last year, but just know that sizes and quantity are going to be limited this year. And to just please make sure you bring a notebook and something to write with. So if you are interested in purchasing apparel, I just threw in a slide with pricing so you have an idea. Again, it's going to be credit card or debit card, so you don't have to worry about bringing cash. Everything with our old logo on it, which is this logo down here, is going to be buy one, get one free. We've updated our logo to these new ones over here. It's part of our new AYCC branding. So all of the t-shirts this year will have the new logo on it. Most of the jackets this year will have the new logo on it. And I'm trying to make sure that we can kind of sundown this old logo. So it's a pretty good deal. A couple of t-shirts for $10, a couple of long sleeves for 15, hoodies, jackets. So I'm trying to make sure that if anyone wants something, you can get it and get a good deal on it, but it just may have the old logo, which is fine. You can still wear it. I'm just trying to get everything updated to the new one. But again, we have limited inventory of some things, so just be aware before you come into it. Next thing, packing. Popular question is always, what can I bring for luggage? So I made this little infographic for you. So on the bus, you can bring a backpack and a small personal item, whether that's, purse, belt bag, crossbody, anything like that. But whatever you bring on the bus, you have to be able to store in your own space. We have limited overhead storage. So the bigger your backpack is, probably the less amount of footroom you're going to have. The bigger your purse is, the more you're going to have to keep it on your lap. That kind of stuff, just be aware. Most of the time, you don't need a ton of stuff up on the bus. Probably just our really big travel days is when you're going to want just like comfort items and stuff like that. If you want to bring a pillow, you can. If you want to bring a blanket, you can. But whatever you bring on the bus has to fit in your own personal space. It can't be encroaching on anybody else's personal space. And then for under the bus, for what you're packing for the week, a large suitcase or a large duffel bag. So you don't have to have a suitcase. If you want to bring a duffel bag, that's fine. I would recommend a suitcase or something that rolls, just because the hotels we go to are really big. So it's not super fun to lug everything through all the time, but either of these are fine. So again, this is one large duffel or one large suitcase is what you should be bringing per person. If you don't need that much, you don't need to bring that much, and that's totally fine. we play a big old game of Tetris every time we have to pack the bus of luggage. So it's important that everyone's mindful so we can make everything work and have everything loaded appropriately. Because all of the luggage has to fit underneath the bus with all of the water that we bring for everyone, the bottled water, as well as all the snacks that we bring for everyone. So a couple important details there. And then, of course, hopefully you've seen that we have a packing list. If you haven't looked at it yet, not a big deal. It's been emailed out a couple different times, and we'll have it at the in-person meeting, and it's in the Google Drive of important documents and stuff, and we've shared it on the Facebook page. But that is a really good reference point as you start thinking about what you need to pack, maybe a couple things you may want to get ahead of time, start thinking about all of that fun stuff. Last but not least, couple upcoming deadlines. This Friday at 10 o'clock, I need everyone's food orders done, and I need any bus requests that people have to be done. Both of those are really important. Food orders, especially if you don't have your food order in by 10 o'clock on March 1st, I'm gonna make a choice for you because I have to submit all of those. Our caterers need this information now. I can't wait much longer. I know I sent out some confusing emails this morning. It was a very Monday type of day, so I hope I straighten that out for everyone. But yeah, we'll keep that in mind, and please make sure you put in those pieces of information. I do want to show you. This is the bus list, so you can find this anywhere where the chaperone group or hotel groups linked. If you go to the bus list tab on this Excel file, you can see what I currently have for bus assignments. So if you haven't already, take a peek and get back to me on this. Because we don't have quite as many people as I initially anticipated, I think we're going to end up with two 56 passenger buses and one 36 passenger bus. So there will be space on every bus. We do not cram pack any of the buses. We always leave space for snacks, for water, for kind of a med seat in case someone gets sick, all of that good stuff. But I think this is going to be our layout as of right now. So if anyone has any requests to move buses, I can do that. I just need to know so I can plan that accordingly. Almost everyone has given me their background checks. I have a couple people that I'll be reaching out to because I'm still waiting on yours. So if you hear from me soon, I need your background check ASAP. And the next couple of things that are coming up are make sure that you're planning your free time, make sure you complete your meal orders, submit your bus requests, make sure you're part of the Facebook group. Make sure you're coming to our March 25th in-person meeting. And our very last meeting before we go on this trip is coming so fast, will be just a couple days before we depart. There probably won't be an agenda. I think it's a Monday. Let me look. Yep, so the Monday before we leave on our trip, at 6:30, we'll have a meeting that I'll just kind of sit in. So if people want to pop in and ask questions, if I have any last minute updates, I'll share those then, but I'll also email it out to people. I understand that before you leave for a week, you're probably pretty busy, even in the evenings. So I'll keep it brief, but I just want to give people a chance to have any last minute questions answered all in one spot. Because if you have a question, maybe somebody else does too. Someone did ask in the chat, will there be laundry services at the hotels? Most of the hotels have laundry services. I did in the Facebook group share links to every single hotel, so you can look and find out if they specifically have laundry services. I wouldn't plan on being able to do laundry at every single hotel. You can probably do it at the New Jersey hotel, for sure had it last year. I don't remember about the other ones. If you do plan to do laundry on the trip, or you're going to try to, I really recommend the laundry detergent sheets that you can buy at the grocery store or order from Amazon. Because if you try and buy detergent at the hotels, it's really expensive. They'll charge you like $20 for the world's smallest bottle of detergent. So just grab like a $5 pack of those laundry detergent sheets and it'll save you a ton, and they can't leak all over your bag. Someone asked, should we purchase tickets for free time in each city now? It depends on what you're looking for. I think there are, if you're talking about stuff in DC, most of the things that we go to are free, like most of the museums are free. New York City, you would probably want to start booking now. There's really no harm in booking stuff early, truth be told. Our itinerary is like very firm at this point. There aren't going to be any drastic changes that would impact something that you've already booked. So if you know now and you know for sure you want to do it, then go ahead and book. But also if it's a really inexpensive ticket and you're kind of on the fence, but it's, you know, if you don't do it, you're out $5, then it's worth it to book then too. So just kind of use your discretion. But I'm a big planner, obviously. This is what I do as a job. So I am a huge fan of planning ahead and having stuff booked as early as possible. So I would be booking stuff now if I knew what I wanted to do in my free time. I guess is my best answer I can give. Does anyone else have questions? About the itinerary, about the in-person meeting, about what to pack, what not to pack? You can either put them in the chat or just unmute yourself. Someone also asked if the hotels have pools and hot tubs. I think one of our hotels does, but as far as what their schedule is, I have no clue. Again, I would just look on the hotel website. I think our middle hotel does, but I really couldn't remember. I don't remember anyone last year going to use a pool or a hot tub. So just look on the website and take a peek. If you want to go use the pool or the hot tub, or if your students ever want to go to the pool or hot tub, just remember that they always have to be chaperoned, and you can't leave students alone in the room. So if you're a chaperone of two students, one wants to go to the pool and one wants to go to the and one wants to stay in the room, you got to figure that out. So either everyone's going to the pool or everyone's staying in the room. Or you're finding a chaperone that is willing to watch one or the other. Everyone has to be chaperoned the whole time. So keep that in mind. Someone else asked, do you have the voucher list for Pentagon City? I found the one for Reagan Center. I do have the voucher list for both, so I can post those. There's a bunch of options in each, but yeah, I'll share those out on the Facebook page because I do have those. That's a great question. Someone asked, will the bus be stopping in Augusta on the way back home like it has in years past to drop people off? Nope, we won't stop in Augusta. We're all going back to Waterville. So if anyone is looking to get picked up or wondering where they should leave a vehicle, that would be Waterville. Pick up and drop off everything right from the AYCC. Someone asked, did you say we should pack mittens, hats, warmer coat? I strongly recommend packing all of those because they don't take up a ton of space. Worst case scenario, you don't end up using them. But if it's cold, it's really, really hard to enjoy something if you're freezing. So I would strongly recommend packing mittens, a hat, and either a warmer coat, but remember you have to wear your red coat or your red on the outside all the time. So if you have a red winter coat or warmer coat, that's great. But I also strongly recommend like a warm sweater to go underneath a red coat or a fleece to go underneath. Stuff like that. But I would strongly recommend. I have had trips that are very, very warm and we're in t-shirts and jeans and it's great and it's lovely. And I've had trips that are very, very cold. Specifically, Gettysburg can get kind of cold and New York City can get kind of cold. And again, I just personally think it's really hard to enjoy something if you're freezing. So I would recommend everyone brings a set of warm gear so you don't have to freeze if that opportunity arises. I saw another question. So for departure, great question. You can either have someone drop you off at the AYCC the day that we leave, or you can leave a vehicle the day that we leave. So if you're gonna have someone drop you off, super simple, park wherever, bring your luggage in, and then when you leave, they leave. Not a big deal. If you want to leave a car, you're going to pull into the AYCC parking lot, drop off all your luggage, and then you're going to go park your car at our parking lot that's right next to the outdoor pool, so it's out of the way while we're traveling. But you can absolutely leave a car there. People do it all the time. People do it every year. There's plenty of spots down in that lower lot to leave your vehicles out of the way. Any other questions? Those are some good ones. If you don't have any questions, I'll say you guys can go ahead and hop off the call. I look forward to meeting everyone finally on March 25th. We are so close to going on this trip. I'm jazzed about it. If you have any questions and want to keep putting them in the chat, go for it. I'll keep answering for a few more minutes, but otherwise, have a great night, everybody.